Hello everybody, it's me, William One Bondman, and this is, again, Road to Hill 30. And I got the Hind. It's the profile, so I don't need to play it through. History of the 101st Airborne from the official US Army report preserved at the US National Archive in Washington. History on the 101st Division in Allied Invasion Western Europe, 6 June 1944 to 13 June 1944. Late in the summer of 1942, a Major General of the United States Army stood before thousands of troops and promised them that their division had a rendezvous with destiny. Due to the nature of our armament and the tactics in which we shall perfect ourselves, we shall be called upon to carry out operations of far-reaching military importance, and we shall habitually go into action when the need is immediate and extreme. Let me call your attention to the fact that our badge is the Great American Eagle. This is a fitting emblem for a division that will crush its enemies by falling upon them like a thunderbolt from the skies. The history we shall make, the record of high achievement we hope to write in the annals of the American Army and the American people, depends wholly and completely on the men of this division. Each individual, each officer, and each enlisted man must therefore regard himself as a necessary part of a complex, powerful instrument for the overcoming of the enemies of the nation. Each in his own job must realize that he not only a means but an indispensable means for obtaining the goal to victory. It is therefore not too much to say that the future itself, in whose molding we expect to have our share, is in the hands of the soldiers of the 101st Airborne. Supreme Allied Commander General Eisenhower meets Sergeant Baker, Real Life Unit, 502nd Parachute Infantry Regiment, 101st Airborne. The 502 PIR was the only US combat unit the Supreme Commander met with on D-1. The day before the invasion, the unit expected 80% casualties. Okay. Hard. 80%. Colonel John F. Antal, US Army, served 30 years in the US Army. He entered the United States Military Academy at West Point in 1973 and retired on July 31, 2003. Antal has commanded US combat soldiers at every level from platoon to regiment. Antal is an airborne ranger and has earned the Expert Infantryman's badge. He served in combat units in Germany, Korea, Kuwait, and the United States. He commanded an M1A1 tank battalion in the volatile demilitarized zone in Korea. His last army assignment was Operation Officer G3 for the 165,000 man 3rd Army Corps at Fort Hood, Texas. Antal now serves as a military historian and advisor to Gearbox Software on gaming titles such as Brothers in Arms. General Dwight D. Eisenhower's order of the day of June 6, 1944. Soldiers, sailors, and airmen of the Allied Expeditionary Force, you are about to embark upon the Great Crusade, toward which we have striven these many months. The eyes of the world are upon you. The hopes and prayers of liberty-loving people everywhere march with you, in company with our brave allies and brothers in arms on other fronts, who will bring about destruction of the German war machine, elimination of Nazi tyranny over the oppressed people of Europe, and security for ourselves and a free world. Your task will not be an easy one. Your enemy is well trained, well equipped, and battle hardened. he will fight savagely. Orders of the day. Huh? But this is the year 1944. Much has happened since the Nazi triumphs of the 1940-41. The United Nations had inflicted upon the Germans great defeats. In open battles, man to man, our air offensive has seriously reduced their strength in the air and their capacity to wage war on the ground. Our home fronts have given us an overwhelming superiority in weapons and munitions of war and placed at our disposal great reserve of trained fighting men. The tide has turned. The free men of the world are marching together to victory. I have full confidence in your courage, devotion to duty, and skill in battle. We will accept nothing less than full victory. Good luck, and let us all beseech the blessing of Almighty God upon this great and noble undertaking. An early draft of the D-Day message. Allied soldiers of the world were brothers in arms. Yep. Okay. Next. Wait. Oh. Character movement in Brothers in Arms created using a live dictum props found within an area of optical motion capture cameras. Animator Lyndon Montgomery directs the actor to perform the behavior of game characters and captures the motion data using specialized computer software. Motion capture Josh Rarick stands in the reference T-pose wearing a special suit that is adorned with an array of sensors the camera can see. 60 times per second in the 3-dimensional position of each of the sensors in the suit is recorded and applied to a computer-generated human frame. The motion capture data is then mounted to a fully articulated reference model that is used in the game before final characters are complete. The reference model is replaced with the final character. This is the player's character, Sergeant Matt Baker, standing in a T-pose captured by the animators. From beginning to end, motion captured animation allows Gearbox software to make all the characters in Brothers in Arms real, natural, and authentic. This is so much info. This is an official intelligence report of the 502 PIR that was declassified by the US government in 2001. In the X-ray, you must have destroyed the 2 AA guns that are listed here in the report. Secondary Armament 2 light anti-aircraft gun position, believed to be 2 cm, positions entirely surrounded by wire 12 to 13 feet thick except northwest corner, which is probably vehicle entrance, and wire on the north of the position with approximately 15 feet. This is an official. Okay. Pre-production animating airdrop sequence. Ooh.
I never asked to be squad leader, but I had no choice. I now have 13 soldiers under my command. 13 men depending on me to make the right decisions and not get them killed. 13 families relying on me to bring their loved ones home. 13. 13 is not a lucky number.
Stand up! Hook up! Check your equipment! Remember, This squad sticks together! Once you hit the ground, find Baker and he'll lead us! Sound off!
14 okay! 13 okay! 12 okay! God damn it! Orient's hit!
I'm fine! I'm okay!
Jesus Christ, we're getting murdered here!
I gotta jump, Sarge!
We wait for the green light!
We wait any longer, there won't be a fucking green light!
Let's get the hell out of here!
Baker! Stand in the door!
God damn it!
I never asked to be squad leader.
Nice. Wait, we saw this already? No.
Ost battalions, from the German word Ost or East, were troops drafted into German service from prisoners captured from the Soviet Army. Most of these soldiers were from Asian Russia, North Africa, Russia, Ukraine, the Muslim republics of the Soviet Union, and other places the Germans had conquered. The Ost battalions in Normandy area on D-Day were from the 709th and 243rd Static Divisions. The quality of these troops was so low that the German army had no chance to implement a defense in depth and fixed these men to fight from prepared positions that guarded the beaches. The German strategy was to use the Ost battalions to defend from fixed positions, and German NCOs were ordered to shoot their own men if they tried to run away.
Oh shit.
Ost battalions.
Okay. Exit for select to view this image. Yes, please. Looking north along the Utah Beach, standing at exit 4, photographed by art director Brian Martell. Autogen Wires pauses on the causeway where German troops fleeing Utah Beach were ambushed by US paratroopers. Exit 4 is in the distance. The German casement at exit 4 on Utah Beach survives the war and 60 subsequent years of weather and tourism. Art director Brian Martell and designer Eric Doscher step up to see the same view that Sergeant Baker has of the Utah Beach invasion of the game. Today, Exit 4 has a memorial that honors the paratroopers and infantry that linked up. Colonel Entel pauses at the memorial to take notes. On the 60th anniversary of D-Day, all that remains of the Exit 4 barricade and seawall of Utah Beach are pieces of rusted metal buried in the sand.
The primary mission of the 101st Airborne was to support the landing of the U.S. 4th Infantry Division at Utah Beach. At 6:30 a.m., the American 4th Infantry Division landed on Utah Beach. The 4th Infantry Division linked up with the 101st Paratroopers early on D-Day and quickly moved inland. In Brothers in Arms, the squad ambushes the Germans streaming away from Utah Beach along Exit 4. Today, a monument exists at Exit 4 to commemorate the landing of the Allied forces, which included the Free French soldiers who participated in the liberation of their country. The primary mission of the 101st Airborne was to support the landing of the U.S. 4th Infantry Division.
Okay. I want Garand Rifle Briefing. Huh?
This is the U.S. M1 Garand rifle. General Patton called the M1 rifle the greatest battle implement ever devised.
Interesting.
The M1 Garand was the standard weapon of the U.S. infantry soldier in World War II.
I know that.
The M1 is semi-automatic. It is a gas-operated, self-loading, shoulder-fired weapon. The ammunition is held in a clip of 8 .30-caliber cartridges. In the hands of a well-trained soldier, the M1 Garand could fire as fast as the trigger could be pulled until all 8 rounds were expended. The M1 Garand provides your fire team and brothers in arms with accurate, long-range firepower. This is the U.S. M1 Garand rifle.
So interesting. So interesting. Next one. The story object is XYZ to view this image set. The official after action reports relating on the action of object XYZ. Page 2 official after action reports relating to the actions at objective. Was up page 1. Marshall's hand. Ground map of the complex. Marshall's map is not as accurate as the game. I can't remember, but yeah. Private Cameron clean out the XYZ complex as a 2-man squad alternating in fire and assault roles. House to house, Summers went through the next 5 houses in the same manner, one man aiding him. Private John Cameron, armed only, they switched weapons from house to house, one carbine while the other rushed the door with the Tommy gun. The houses were thick stone walled and the walls were slotted with fire ports. The German kept firing on the road. The machine gunner kept embrasures. Summers and Kamen went on from building to building, taking no prisoners because no chance afforded, fighting and firing and saying nothing to one another. 30 of the enemy were killed in the dwellings before the 2 men rushed the building near the end of the line, kicked the door open and found it was a true mass shell. There were 15 men at the table paying no heed to the fighting. Summers cut them down as they started to move to rise. Ooh. Summers earned the Distinguished Service Cross for his role in this fight. Details about the bazooka fire that sets the house ablaze bring XYZ fight to a fearsome conclusion. A bazooka had been sent along by Cassidy's Sergeant Warren in charge of the bazooka. The men waiting here saw the last bazooka round set the upper part of the houses in flames. Lieutenant Combs and Lieutenant Theodore S. Richards arrived in time to see it. Also, the Germans began pouring out of the house and the men at the edge would fire into them as they fled backward. It was much too late for them. House 1. Autographed by the Gearbox Survey team on location at Normandy. Wow, the game still still exists. It faced the courtyard where the final battle took place. Dining room house of represented in the game. Reset at the National Archives. Select to view this image. Yes, please. Records located in Washington, D.C. as a white gearbox with thousands of pieces of historical evidence used in the making of the game. Co-director Brian Martell at the archives, he discovered thousands of photos, U.S. Army report, eyewitness accounts, maps, and spy plane images. Official U.S. Army after action reports provided volumes of detailed information about each unit participated in the D-Day invasion. The party forms. Cole figured he didn't want to could be sure he beat on the door of a house at the edge of the town. An answer came back from a woman, but she wouldn't open up. Though Cole continued to pound the door for about 10 minutes, a boy from the 505th who spoke fairly good French came up and gave her an argument through the door. She opened it. She was reluctant to give them any information. Finally told them they were at Saint-Mère-Église. Carentan, the farmhouse, Causeway, Purple Heart Line. Every reconnaissance mission is taken by the Army Air Corps in 94 to help soldiers prepare 60 years ago. Today the plots are preserved. Pages of personal journals of persons such as this one were discovered by the Gearbox research team at the archives. Maps hand-drawn by soldiers 1944 offer minutes detail about small unit action. This map tells of Private Sterner's role in Coast Charge. The US Army Signal Corps took combat photographs throughout the ETO. Gearbox accumulated about 500 such photos and paratroopers in Normandy. Before D-Day, Army cartographers described every road, house and hatched row in France. The maps helped Gearbox rebuild Normandy 60 days later. The Thompson.
This is the U.S. M1 Thompson submachine gun. The Thompson submachine gun was the weapon of choice of the paratroopers of D-Day.
Oh, they have a muzzle, I don't know.
The Thompson weighs 12.5 pounds when fully loaded and is 33 inches long. The Thompson paratroopers would load their...
Wait, what?
The Thompson weighs 12.5 pounds when fully loaded and is 33 inches long. The Thompson fires between 600 and 700 rounds per minute. Paratroopers would load their Thompson with either a 20-round or 30-round magazine. In Brothers in Arms, the .45 caliber Thompson is absolutely deadly in the hands of a trained paratrooper in close combat. Use this weapon for the close assault. This is the U.S. M1 Thompson submachine gun.
Okay, Normandy photo essay selective view. Gearbox makes several trips to France and Soviet battlefields. The following photo essay from one of those trips was compiled by Michael Neumann. Exit 4 to Utah Beach is now named after an army engineer who helped load the seawall to link up the 101st with the 4th Infantry Division. Low tide. Dawn Utah Beach 2004. Artist Jennifer Wiltshire stands near a rusted reminder of the amphibious landing. Chariot races on Utah Beach in 2004. A house near San Mateo, it was command post where the assault on Object XYZ started. These children lived there. Hello! The church in Fauqueville, 60 years earlier, the 502nd PIR held the northernmost flank of the entire invasion. The distinctive house at Deadman's Corner was put up for sale in 2004. The steeple of the church in Saint-Cloud-du-Mont was destroyed by artillery on D+2. It has since been completely restored. It's great news. The Tyranny near Bridge 2 on Purple Heart Lane has become a residence. Only close inspection betrayed traces of the battle that took place here 60 years earlier. From under Bridge 3 in Purple Heart Lane, Colonel Cole ordered his men down the bloody causeway. Currently, when recounts Lieutenant Colonel Cole's attack on Carentan, which he witnessed as a boy 60 years earlier just yards from the spot. The factory in the industrial section of Carentan has been abandoned since the war, but is still standing. In this mission, the statue near the entrance of the cathedral in Carentan is pocked by 60-year-old bullet holes. Designer Eric Doscher is mobbed by schoolchildren. Funny. Remington scans the horizon and felt dirty, looking for landmarks and anything of interest. He found a cemetery. Okay, cool. We have still time for one more. Brothers in Arms. Our department selected to Plus artists. Okay. More artists. Wait, are only those two? Yeah. Cool. German Army Regular Infantry, Colonel Engelberting.
The German infantry was the mainstay of the German army. These soldiers were very dependable and much better trained, equipped, and disciplined than the Ost Battalion troops. The infantry was organized into 9-man rifle squads, comprised of a sergeant, a 5-man rifle element, and a 3-man light machine gun team. In 1944, the German squad and its tactics revolved around the MG-42 machine gun. In the 101st Airborne Invasion area, the regular infantry were predominantly from the German 91st Infantry Division. The German infantry was the mainstay of the German army.
Bukhari and blockade of official after action reports select view, yeah. A page from an official US Army after action reports about the fight at Bukhari on D-Day. The map notes every house and hatch in the village. Roadblock number 1 is on the crossroads at the church and is the northernmost line of the entire invasion on D-Day. Also highlighting is the XYZ area. Oh, only those 2 images? Okay. Training exercise. Long before production, the Gearbox team goes on field training exercise FTX with Colonel John Antle to learn about real soldiering. The game developers were required to get the gear suit up and set up camp under the direction and pressure of a US Army Colonel and a US Army Major. Ooh. Major Pete Petrarca instructs the team in squad communication and had signals consistent with the fundamental concepts of fire and move tactics. The Gearbox team then ran battle drills and learned standard operating procedures for setting up firing line with small units. Every part of an infantry soldier experience was covered in the FTX. Digging foxholes proved to be completely unfun and is therefore not simulated in the game. Squad tactics involve fire shooting at the enemy to suppress them in place. The developers fought with paintball weapons using the training they had. As the enemy is pressed, an assault team can move to flank and kill them. Gearbox developers learned how to outflank a real opposing force. FTX provided Gearbox developers with the tools they needed to create an authentic and entertaining squad combat experience. Long before production, the Gearbox team goes on a field training exercise with Colonel John Antle. Okay. Cool. One last one. Programs department. Salut. US Army Signal Corps photos, glider landings, not this current training exercise. The glider was a cramped planes. Gliders carried men and equipment into Normandy to reinforce the jump troops. That was a crazy mission. Known as Romulus Asparagus, the posts standing in the field were designed by the Field Marshal to tear apart gliders landing here. Oh yeah. Several gliders landed near Eastville among fields of Romulus Asparagus. Fortunately, mines and wires had not yet been fastened to the poles here. The glider's wing was badly torn by Romulus Asparagus. Several of the men inside were wounded. This house glider had been torn and flipped on landing, killing half of the men on board.
This is the British-made Horsa glider. Gliders like this one were essential to reinforce the paratroopers on D-Day. The Horsa glider could carry 30 fully armed troops or equipment such as a jeep, a howitzer, or anti-tank guns.
30 men? Wow.
The Horsa was a high-wing glider with a fabric-covered wooden structure and fixed tricycle landing gear. It had a wingspan of 88 feet and a length of 67 feet. Towed by a C-47 transport aircraft, the Horsa was let loose over the target and glided down to land in the open fields of France. In Brothers in Arms, you will see Horsa gliders land in the chapter titled Rommel's Asparagus. This is the British-made
Yes, I remember. Around the world. National D-Day Mission New Orleans, Louisiana. Co-director Brian Martell examines an MP-38 that is being considered for display at the D-Day Museum. The Smithsonian's National American History Museum in Washington, D.C. has an extensive and well-preserved collection of D-Day artifacts. Original field manuals and the Browning automatic rifle on the display at the National American History Museum. The U.S. Ordnance Museum provided Colonel Antle and Gearbox developers access to actual weapons from the European theater. In Normandy, France, there are dozens of museums dedicated to D-Day. The museum at Bayeux was gracious to our researchers. Antle stands before a famous Screaming Eagles emblem at the Best Holland Museum. Beste City. The Airborne Museum in Saint-Mère-Église contains a wealth of records and artifacts about the paratroopers on D-Day. Also, the Airborne Museum, the Saint-Mère-Église Church, looms behind the Sherman tank on display. The D-Day Memorial in Normandy. More than 10,000 are buried here. Wow. That is a lot. Okay, that was a special episode from this with the extras. There are three more to go. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope I'll see you next time. Have a good night, have a good fight, and bye bye.